Hey, sports fans! PB&Z Sports Chaos, and guess what? It's the Brady Bowl weekend. Yes, Tom Brady comes back to Foxborough to face Bill Belichick and the Patriots. We're gonna talk about that a lot momentarily. Before we do that, MLB. We're gonna talk about MLB, PB. Let's do that on Monday night. We'll do another show because it's coming down to the wire for the AL wildcard, right?
Yeah, everyone's within. I mean, the Yankees got a 2-game lead, which isn't clinched, and then you have Seattle and Boston both tied for that second spot right now, and Toronto's only a game back behind them. So Yankees are probably in, but you're only going to get one of the teams out of Boston, Seattle, and Toronto is going to get in as well.
But by the way, the Yankees have to play Toronto not Toronto. They already played them. They've got to play Tampa Bay the next 3 games, right?
Is it Tampa that they're up against?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Hey, by the way, we're going to do a playoff show, Monday Night Fans. We're going to give it to you. And I'm going to ask PB one question because I know it's a little bit of a Tampa Bay fan now. He's in Florida. If you took all the players, starting players, 36 guys from Tampa Bay, Toronto, Boston, and New York, put them in a bubble and said, pick 9 players, who would you pick? I don't think any Tampa Bay player will be picked. We'll see what happens when we do that on our show Monday night.
All right.
All right. By the way, hey, PB, I can ask you a question. This whole thing about Tampa Bay, why are they doing so good? I don't understand it.
The Bucks or the Rays?
Both of them, well, obviously the Bucks, but the Rays, yes.
Yeah, they're just one of those teams. They're scrappy. They just figure out ways to win. They play fundamental baseball. That's why they win.
All right, let's get into college football because I have a lot to talk about college football. First of all, the college football playoff panel said we're not going to change the rules. There's going to be a 4-game playoff format going forward. PB, does that suck? 4 teams?
Yeah, I mean, how long is that good for, though? I mean, are they going to do that for?
It's another 3 or 4 years unless they change it. Right now, the contract was like 4 years.
Yeah, I think there's too many. College is different. Right? There's also the semesters, and academics, and finals, and everything else that gets thrown into that time frame and that period. So it's tough. And I think, from a money standpoint, obviously there's lots of money to be made for the schools. So you would think that there'd be some advocacy for it in that aspect of it.
Right.
But, how much more do you go? I mean, you go 2 more teams and just give the top 2 a bye and then put the next 4 in the first round. And then that way you're kind of playing the same amount. You're just playing basically 1 more game that way. Or do you go to 8? There was talk about going to 12 and giving the first 4 buys and the next 8 play in the first round. There's a lot of different scenarios you can do there. It's fun for the fans. I just don't know how it all plays into the colleges,
PB, all I want to say is, and we'll talk about this more in the future, there's 5 power conferences, 5 power 5 conferences, right? How can you only have 4 teams? You're going to have 5 if you consider them the 5 power 5s. You can't whittle it down to 4. And now you guys, we'll talk about this in our picks in a minute. Cincinnati, not a power 5 yet. They're going to go to the Big 12 in a couple of years, but we'll see. All right, let's get into our, by the way, last week, college football. Mizzou went to BC. I went to the game. I watched it. It was a great effing game. And you know what I heard a Mizzou fan say? Well, BC beat a subpar, bottom of the dweller SEC game. What? It was a great game. Do you agree?
Yeah, it was a great game for BC. BC's 4-0. Hey, if BC wins this week at Clemson, they're going to be ranked.
Oh, speaking of Clemson, all right. What a shocker last week. North Carolina State beat Clemson. Now Clemson's number 25. I don't even think it should be 25. They get 2-2 record. Do you agree? Should they be out of the top 25?
Yeah, it's probably their just their brand.
Their resume, right?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, you mentioned they play BC tomorrow. They're a 15-point favorite. This is not one of our picks. Does BC cover?
And it's hard to say. I mean, Clemson hasn't shown me otherwise that they can win by that much right now. So I think a good chance BC covers, but since I don't have to pick it, I'm not picking it.
I believe BC will cover that game.
All right.
Hey, all right. Speaking SEC, there was a shocker last week. Arkansas, not only did they cover, but they outright beat Texas A&M, who a lot of fans, including I believe UPB, had them as one of the top 5 teams in the country. What do you think now?
Yeah, I didn't have it as one of the top 5. It was Iowa State that I snuck in. Well, preseason picks, obviously,
Yes.
given today, but obviously they've fallen off a cliff as well. But I also had Cincinnati. Cincinnati was my next one, so I'm not gonna. I did like A&M last year. I thought they could be a sleeper. This year, I wasn't too high on them. But either way, I still picked them last week. I thought they'd go in, beat Arkansas, and they did not. And Arkansas looks pretty good right now. I think you got them coming up in our picks, don't you?
We do. By the
Yeah.
way, at Soldiers Field last week, you might have you picked Notre Dame. I picked Notre Dame. G Money picked Wisconsin. Big win by Notre Dame at Soldiers Field last week, right?
Yeah, I went 2-2 last week with college, so didn't knock it out of the park. Just kind of held pat.
By the way, Notre Dame won that game. I find this mesmerizing, PB. Brian Kelly is now the most all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame, ahead of New Rockne, Eric Basigan, and Lou Holtz. Does that blow your mind?
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that. Wow.
All right. Oh, God. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into our college foreplay. You were last week, what, 2-2?
2-2.
G Money was 2-2. And the legend was 3-1 once again. All right.
All right.
Hey.
Back-to-back 3-1 weeks for Z. Nice.
Here we go. The big game, potentially, of the week. Number 7, Cincinnati plays number 9, Notre Dame. Cincinnati's a 2-point favorite. Who do you like?
Yeah, this is in Notre Dame, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I got to take Notre Dame. I was impressed with the play against Wisconsin. I do like Cincinnati a lot, but on the road, tough opponent. You're giving points to the home team here. I'm going to go with Notre Dame with 2 points at home.
I'm with you, man. You know what? I want to pick Cincinnati because I think they're a good non-Power 5 school, but they can't win this game on the road. So I'm with you. All right. I got another one for you. Last week, Wisconsin went to Soldiers Field and played Notre Dame and lost.
Big.
But now they got to come home to face Michigan at home. I think Wisconsin's a damn good school. Who do you like? They're a favorite, -1 against Michigan at home.
Yeah, right. Well, if they're -1 at home, that means Michigan's the better team because you get 3 points from Vegas when you're home, right? So I'm gonna take Michigan. I wasn't impressed with some of the things Wisconsin did, some of the mistakes they made in that game, the turnovers that they had. They can't get that straightened out. They're gonna lose this game. So I'm gonna pick Michigan.
You know what? I believe Wisconsin's a better team than that. And I'm not sold on what Jim Harbaugh's doing yet. So I'm taking Wisconsin. All right. Arkansas, a huge win last week. Huge win. They've now become number 8 after that win over Texas A&M. But they got to go to number 2, Georgia. And I don't understand the spread. 18.5?
Yeah. Yeah, and then these are the kind of spreads that scare me a little bit. I know I've been taking the favorites lately. Like I took Oklahoma last week with the big number, lost on that. I took Alabama with a big number a couple weeks ago against Florida, lost on that. And I'm gonna I'm not going to reverse my strategy. I'm going to think that the big number is something Vegas knows. 18 and a half. I'm going to lay the points with Georgia. It's in Georgia. Fans will be going absolutely berserk for that game. And I think Georgia ends up blowing them out. I think Georgia wins this game by 31 points.
31. I don't think they have an offense to score 31 points. I would be surprised they score 19. That's why I'm taking Arkansas. I get Arkansas. All right. Ole Miss goes to Alabama. All right, let me tell you a couple things about this game. First of all, it's now the Heisman favorite. Bryce Young and Matt Corral are the two favorites for the Heisman Trophy at the moment right now.
Yeah.
Saban, 23-0 against his former assistant, Lane Kiffin, the head coach at Ole Miss, was an assistant at Alabama. But, be it noticed, PB, Joe Burrow, Johnny Manziel, Cam Newton, they all beat Saban. Saban has lost 5 games at home, 3 of them to those guys I just mentioned. So, Matt Corral, who's now suddenly the Heisman Trophy favorite. I'm not going to say anymore. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not going to buy into all the hype right now. I'm just going to stick with the Crimson Tide here and take Bama. I'll lay the points. I know I'm going in big on these teams that are, people are saying that they're beatable now, and they're still the number 1 team in the country. They're still at home. They're still playing a team that may or may not be there in the end. I get the whole Heisman potential, but I'm taking Bama. I'm like the 14 and a half or whatever it is.
All right, man. I don't know. I'm taking the other team. All right, NFL stuff. Let's get into it. Last time we had another close game.
By the way,
prime time.
Before we go any further, just so everyone knows, we were different on, I think, 3 of our 4 picks, and I was different on every one of G Money's picks. So G Money took the exact opposite 4 teams that I took in that. So
G Money, you better pick up a jockstrap, brother. It's falling on the ground.
yeah.
All right. Hey, NFL news. Last night, Cincinnati, they beat the competition was the number 1 draft pick for the 2020 draft against the number 1 draft pick in the 2021 draft. They won against the Jaguars. T-Law lost 20, but another good game on Thursday night, which I don't get. Every single game has been competitive, right?
Yes, come down to the last play every game.
By the way, all right, so rookie quarterbacks, real quick, BB. Rookie quarterbacks have not fared well this year. Justin Herbert was stunning after the week 2 win last year. There's not been a really stud quarterback. Do you agree?
No, not at all. I mean, you could make the argument that Mac Jones is essentially the best one out there. Trevor Lawrence is, he's holding his own. He's throwing a lot of interceptions, turning the ball over a little bit. Jacksonville's 0-4, so you can't really put him in that equation right now. Zach Wilson's also 0-3, soon to be 0-4, doing nothing. Trey Lance isn't even starting just yet. I mean, he's coming in here and there and done okay. And Justin Fields basically was, annihilated in probably the worst rookie quarterback debut ever in the history of football last week with the Bears. So all I got to say is, Matt Nagy, we were giving you a hard time earlier, but just maybe you knew something. Like Z said, Z knew that Matt Nagy knew something about not putting him in the position to have to start at the beginning of the season because he's obviously not ready to play. I don't care about what they say about the line and this, that, and the other thing. He sucked. He absolutely sucked. And you know what? The Ohio State quarterback dilemma just lives on.
You know that, PB. That's my thing, right? Ohio State kids cannot play NFL quarterback. And he proved it once again, right?
Absolutely.
By the way, he had 5, he was stacked 9 times. 5 of them, he held the ball for longer than 4 seconds. You got to get rid in the NFL, that ball has to be out of your hand less than 4, right?
Right, exactly. And that's the whole thing what I'm saying. Like people say, oh, the offensive line broke down, he wasn't protected, this, that, and the other thing. He sucked.
I agree, man. Thank you. Ohio State quarterbacks suck. Yes. All right. By the way, another quarterback who everybody loves and consists the greatest guy on earth. He lost again last week. You know what I'm talking about, Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
They're now last place in the division.
Yeah. Who would have thought? You got Kansas City in dead last all by themselves. You got the Seattle Seahawks dead last all by themselves. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers dead last all by themselves. And oh, by the way, what are the 5 teams that are 3-0 in the NFL right now? Who would have put the Denver Broncos, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Carolina Panthers on that list? And yeah, maybe Arizona Cardinals, okay. And the Rams, of course, you probably would have had them on your list. But these are teams you did not expect to be on that list. You know, you'd think Green Bay, you'd think Tampa Bay, you'd think Buffalo, Kansas City. All these teams are not. Interesting start to the season, I'll tell you.
PB, by the way, we talked about this on a post-Super Bowl show, and I said Patrick Mahomes will never catch Tom Brady, and I also said he may never win another Super Bowl. And right now, I'm looking very prophetic, right?
Oh, yeah. And I've texted my KC friends and said, now hopefully you understand and see how hard it is to win in the NFL. Tom Brady's heydays was not, you know, just by luck. That team was a dynasty. And it just goes to show you how hard it is to really win.
So speaking of Brady, we come into the Brady Bill weekend. A lot of talk about that. I've been on the record several times saying Bill, who is a sub 500 coach without Brady at the helm, I stick to this day. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I know this is a back and forth dilemma. I mean, obviously, if you just go with the eye test, Brady's the man. I mean, Brady went somewhere else to a new team that hadn't won a Super Bowl in whatever, almost 20 years or whatever, goes in and takes a team and didn't even make the playoffs the year before and takes a team and wins the Super Bowl with them. Meanwhile, Belichick can't even get out of his own way and they finished sub 500. No playoffs, right? Now,
right.
Well, granted, it was Cam Newton, whatever, kind of rebuilding a little bit. Now you got your quarterback of the future in Mac Jones. And I'm not, as a fan, expecting big things out of him in the first year. But I'm sure Belichick wants to get right back into the dance. And he's not. I mean, they beat one of the worst teams in the NFL in the New York Jets. He's not liking the Patriots after week 2 because they won 25-6 against the crappy Jets. That you got another thing. They lost at home. They're 0-2 at home. They lost at home to Miami, and who's obviously been disappointing this year. And they lost at home to New Orleans, who, you know, also is, you know, has been a little suspect. So I don't know. I really don't see the Patriots doing well this year. I got to put it on. I got to say it's Belichick, and is the one who has to prove himself. He's the one who's not winning football games. Meanwhile, Brady is. So until I see otherwise, I got to say Brady's the GOAT.
I'm with you. Bill, sub 500 coach, should be defensive coordinator someplace. So you and I both agree Tampa Bay wins this game handily, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Tampa Bay's a better team. I mean, the only thing I'm going to give Belichick is if he treats it like it's his Super Bowl and goes all in, tries to scheme a little bit, tries to confuse Brady, which confusing Brady is like, you know, very, very difficult.
Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it's like trying to confuse Einstein with a math problem. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. He's going to figure it out. So I just don't think that they can hang with him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Brady comes up. I mean, if Belichick comes up with a few schemes and a couple times Brady gets sacked, has to throw it away or whatever. But at the end of the day, this is a double-digit win for the Bucks.
I'm with you. All right, let's get into our pick 6. That will not be one of the games because it's not going to be close, we think. Last week, PB, you were awesome. You were 4-2. I was 3-3. And our little money man, G Money, was 0 for 6. Oh, my God. Hopefully he rebounds this week. All right. Indy at Miami. 2 teams way underperforming. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, and they both, you're right, underperforming tremendously. And I I'm disappointed in what Miami's doing. They got Brissett there now behind center until Tua comes back, and he hasn't really shown me much. Indy, I know they got a good core, but Wentz, you know how I feel about Carson Wentz.
I know.
And I mean, neither of these teams can lose. I mean, Miami can't drop to 1-3, and Indy can't drop to 0-4. I don't know where to go with this one. I've really been going back and forth. I think Miami has more talent in the skill positions, and that's the reason why I'm going to take Miami in this game. Very close. I want to take Indy. I want to take them, but I just can't. It's at Miami. I'm taking the Dolphins.
And we've talked about since the preseason, Indy has a tough opening schedule, right?
Yeah.
I believe Indy wins this game. I have a feeling they dominate on both sides of the line of scrimmage, which we believe is the best part of their team. I think they win the game.
Okay.
All right. Cleveland, Minnesota. You love Minnesota coming into the season. What do you think here?
Yeah, I love Minnesota, and the Minnesota had a nice, impressive win against Seattle, and I think that are they 2-1? No, they're 1-2, right? Because they did lose their opening game. I think on Cincinnati. They lost to Cincinnati, and then they turned around and lost a close one to Arizona. They beat Seattle handily. This game's at home. Cleveland's one of those teams. I don't know if I can put all my stock in them right now. They beat a Bears team that obviously is very lethargic on offense last week. And I think that going on the road this week, I have a feeling that Minnesota's going to take it to them. So I'm confident enough with that passing attack. Dalvin Cook should play this week, and if he does, that'll definitely put him over the top. So I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one.
Ooh, you're praying for Dalvin Cook to play. I'm taking Cleveland. I believe they're a Super Bowl contender right now. I'm taking Cleveland.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the NFC West. Final four competition, because these four teams, two of them will probably play for the NFC Conference Championship, maybe. Arizona at the Rams. I know the Rams like a 4.5-point favorite, but Arizona looks very tough. Who do you like there?
Yeah, I got to go with the Rams. I mean, right now the Rams are the team to beat, and until they lose, and this game's at LA, I'm not picking against them. So I'm going to take the Rams.
Yeah, me too. If it was a spread game, maybe not, but yes, pure winner, I get Rams as well. All right, the other one, Seattle goes to San Fran. Which Seattle team shows up? Because they're heckle and jive, right?
Yeah, they are. And San Francisco's look decent. They're still trying to figure out the running back situation. Trey Sermon will start again this week. I think he's got great potential. Ayuk finally got into the mix last week. He scored a touchdown. I know the first couple of weeks he was hardly even playing and taking snaps, but with him back in the mix now, you got Deebo Samuel as your other wide receiver. You got Kittle. I think you got enough of an attack there to put up some points and stay with the Seahawks offense, because the Seahawks, same thing. I mean, you can make the same argument with Lockett and Metcalf and Carson and Russell Wilson. Good skill positions on both sides. So this might come down to defense. And I think right now, San Francisco has the better defense. Seattle does not look good right now against the pass. And I think that they can leverage that and take advantage of it. So I'm going to take the Niners.
Yes, I'm all in because I like the Niners. I believe Jimmy G once again wins this game. San Fran wins that one. All right, Baltimore and Denver. Who would ever see Denver being 3-0? But they beat three winless teams. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Denver's not that good of a football team. They're really not. Their defense is, I'll give it to you, above average, maybe even by the end of the year, squeak into the top 10. But right now I'm going to say they're a 11 to 15 defense. And their offense is pretty much in the mid to low 20s. I mean, they're not a good offense. And, Baltimore, I'm not a big fan of either. But I'll take Lamar Jackson over Teddy Bridgewater any day. And I'll also take, the coaching. I'll take the coaching any day on the Baltimore side. And Baltimore just seems to get things done. And they've been, they've been lucky. Yeah, I mean, you got to take Harbaugh over Fangio, right? And then, but I just look at how lucky they've been. And this game last week, and Tucker's money when he's kicking field goals.
66-yard field goal to win the game on the buzzer, the longest ever in the NFL. Right?
And what if that was in Denver? That probably would have been good from 70.
76, right?
So yeah, for that reason, I got to take Baltimore. And I think Denver. I don't think Denver goes 500 this year. I'm going to mark my words right now. They're 3-0. They're going to finish. They're probably going to finish 8-9.
You know what's funny, PB? You and I both said back in the early, maybe February, if Aaron Rodgers went to Denver, they'd be a Super Bowl contender, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe they're as bad as what we think, but they're not a 3-0 team. They beat 3 winless teams. I think Baltimore, I love Baltimore personally. I think Baltimore finds a way to win. I'm with you if Baltimore wins that game. All right. LV, Las Vegas, 3-0 goes to the Chargers, 2-1. By the way, these have to be 2 of the hottest quarterbacks in the AFC right now. When you think about Justin Herbert from the Chargers, and you got Derek Carr, who is throwing the ball unbelievable for the Raiders. What do you think?
Yeah. And, I traded him away in my dynasty league for Waddle and Daniel Jones, which I'm still okay with that move, considering it's dynasty. But I do agree with you. I mean, Derek Carr's the real deal right now. He's definitely like a top 5 quarterback statistically. His team's 3-0. But I'm not sold on the team. I mean, I don't think they're another team. I don't think it's going to make the playoffs. I think this is a team that will finish, 8-9, 9-8, somewhere in that range. And even last week against a Tua-less Miami Dolphins at home, they went to overtime and barely won at the end of overtime. So this is not a team that people should be getting too excited about. And against the Chargers, who I do think is a team people should get excited about, at LA, easy Charger victory here. I'd even put this one in the double-digit range.
Double-digit? Whoa! PB, you're going out there on a strike. All right, man. I'm taking Las Vegas. I think they pull it off. I don't know. I think Carr's getting more. He should be getting more credit. So we'll see. All right, that's a good pick, though. I love Justin, man. He's my man. By the way, he's better than all 5 quarterbacks that's from the rookie class this year, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Hey, Monday night, we're going to give you a little baseball talk. We would do it tonight, but we don't know who's going to be in the ALF for a wild card yet, right?
No, we got to wait to see how this weekend plays out.
Oh, man. All right.
We'll make our predictions for you on Monday night, and then we'll roll right into Sunday Night Football with the Pats and the Bucs. It's going to be a good one.
That's going to be crazy. All right, PB, good show, man. Talk to you later.
All right. See you, man.